You do the right things and you still don't feel safe. You open your banking app, you look at the number, and for a second you feel relief. Then the relief fades, not because you're irresponsible, but because the number was never meant to solve the feeling underneath it. The strange part is that you can be disciplined and still feel stuck. You can be careful and still feel behind. You can be good with money and still feel like money has you on a leash, not failing, not collapsing, just staying in place. Somewhere along the way, you were taught a lesson that sounds wise, but quietly shapes your entire future. Save, don't waste, be careful, play it safe. And if you follow that script long enough, you start to believe this is what financial intelligence looks like. But that training comes with a hidden cost. Saving is a defensive skill. It helps you survive. It helps you absorb shocks. It reduces anxiety. And yes, you need it. The problem appears when saving becomes your entire identity, when being responsible slowly turns into a cage you never question. If saving is the answer, why does it still feel like you're not moving? Why does more discipline keep producing the same life? The issue isn't laziness, it's conditioning. You were trained for safety, not trained to build wealth. Saving money is built around one question: how do I avoid losing? Building wealth is built around another: how do I create? That difference sounds small, but it changes the way your brain scans the world. When your mind is trained to avoid loss, it looks for threats. It looks for mistakes. It tries to shrink risk. Your thinking becomes defensive by default. You can see it in your behavior. You hesitate, you delay, you overthink, you wait for certainty. You keep your ambitions in a mental folder labeled later. You don't call it fear, you call it being smart. Most people don't have a spending problem. They have a permission problem. They don't feel allowed to think bigger than their current situation. So they stay careful, and careful slowly becomes small. If your only plan is to save, your future is capped by your income. Saving preserves what already exists. Wealth expands what exists. Without something that grows beyond your hours, you spend your life managing limits instead of building leverage. There's a reason saving feels so right. Your brain is wired for survival, and survival loves certainty. Saving reduces anxiety. It creates relief. Your nervous system relaxes and tells you that you're protected. That's not weakness, that's biology. But biology also comes with a bias, loss aversion. Losing feels worse than winning feels good. So the mind naturally prefers safety over growth. It chooses the familiar discomfort over the unfamiliar opportunity. That's why many people spend years perfecting budgets without ever building anything that changes their income. Budgeting feels productive because it's measurable, controlled, clean. But it can quietly replace progress. When you're trained to save, you can start treating discomfort as danger. Any uncertainty feels like a threat. Any investment feels like a gamble. Any attempt to grow feels like being irresponsible. So you wait. You gather more information. You plan more. You tell yourself you'll start when you feel ready. And ready becomes a horizon that moves every time you walk toward it. Saving can keep you from crashing. It cannot take you somewhere new. The real question isn't whether you should save. It's what you're building while you save. Because if the answer is nothing, then saving becomes motion without direction. Think about the messages you absorbed growing up. Get a stable job. Don't take risks. Investing is dangerous. Business is for other people. Be grateful for what you have. Don't get ahead of yourself. Those ideas don't stay theoretical. They become invisible walls. Like a thermostat, they set the maximum level you allow yourself to reach. Each time you try to go beyond it, guilt or fear pulls you back down. This is why saving is praised more than creating. Saving looks humble, creating looks ambitious, and ambition makes people uncomfortable when they've been trained to worship security. But security is rarely the absence of risk. It's often the result of risk taken intelligently over time. The irony is brutal. The same world that tells you, play it safe, will also punish you for staying average. Notice the stories you tell yourself. I'm not the type of person who does that. That's for people who are already ahead. I need to be more stable first. Those sentences sound practical, but they also define your identity. And your identity will protect itself, even if it's protecting the wrong life. If you only save, you rely on a single fragile system, your ability to keep trading time for money. That may feel stable, but it's dependence disguised as responsibility. Wealth doesn't need mysticism, it doesn't need slogans, it's not a vibe. Wealth is simple, it's the ability to generate value that continues even when you're not present. That value can come from capital, skills, systems, products, services, brands, or assets. The form changes, the principle stays the same. Two people can save the same amount every month. One lets it sit in cash because it feels safe. The other learns the basics and puts it into boring structures that can grow over time. Diversified investing, a skill that raises earning power, a side service that compounds through reputation, a product that can be sold again without starting from zero. At first, they look identical. Over time, the gap appears. Not because one is smarter, but because one allowed growth to happen. Safety can protect you from volatility. It can also protect you from progress. Most people think in straight lines. If progress feels slow now, they assume it will always be slow. But wealth rarely grows linearly. It grows in curves. Small differences compound. Money that only sits cannot compound. It can only wait. You've seen this in real life, even if you didn't name it. Someone saves for years and the number grows slowly, almost painfully. Then someone else puts the same discipline into a structure that can grow. They invest consistently, or they build a small service that brings repeat clients, or they learn a skill that doubles their rate. At first it feels unfair because the effort looks similar, but the difference is that one path is storage and the other path is multiplication. Even inflation proves the point. Money that only sits is quietly losing purchasing power while you wait. And you can't save your way into a new identity. Identity changes when you create, not when you protect. Now fear shows up because fear is the guardian of the old self. What if it fails? What if I lose money? What if I look stupid? Those fears are real. But there's another cost most people never calculate: opportunity cost. Every safe choice also chooses the life that safety allows. You don't just avoid losses, you avoid upside, you avoid learning, you avoid becoming someone new. The most dangerous financial decision isn't a bad investment. It's a life built entirely around avoidance. Avoidance feels calm, but it quietly erodes your future. It turns your life into a waiting room where you're always preparing for the moment you finally start. And then you look up one day and realize the moment never came because you never created it. That's why people feel exhausted even when they're doing everything right. They're constantly managing, controlling, and minimizing. But they're not expanding. They are trying to win by never losing. That strategy can keep you alive, but it will rarely make you free. Wealth requires a shift from defense to creation, not recklessness, direction. A decision to stop treating your life like something you must protect at all costs and start treating it like something you're allowed to build. Creation doesn't mean dramatic moves. It means choosing one lever and pulling it consistently. A skill that increases your earning power. A service you can sell, a product you can improve, a simple investment plan you can follow, something that grows when you show up and keeps rewarding you later. Most people sabotage themselves by restarting constantly. They prepare instead of building. They consume information instead of creating feedback. They tell themselves they're learning, but what they're really doing is staying safe inside theory. But theory never pays you. Feedback pays you. Feedback teaches you what works, what doesn't, and what you can improve. Improvement is what turns small effort into compounding results. If you want a simple test, look at your week. Did you spend it only protecting? Or did you spend it building something that can expand? Even if the building felt small, even if it was awkward, protection keeps you stable. Building changes your trajectory. Pick one path that can compound, not 10. 1. Then make it boring on purpose, because the richest outcomes are built by repetition. Repetition turns a skill into leverage. Repetition turns a service into referrals. Repetition turns investing into compounding. Repetition turns a brand into trust. Start smaller than your ego wants. Pick one tiny action you can repeat for 30 days. One outreach message, 1 hour on a skill, 1 page of a product, 1 automatic investment, 1 piece of content. The goal isn't to be rich. The goal is to prove to your nervous system that growth is survivable. Once that becomes normal, your entire financial life starts to feel different. Keep saving. Protection matters. It gives you space to think. It gives you time. It gives you calm. But separate protection from growth. One exists to reduce stress. The other exists to expand your future. When they're mixed, guilt takes over. When they're separated, clarity appears. Try this. Give your money 2 jobs. One job is to keep you safe. The other job is to make you stronger. Safe money sits where it can do its job. Growth money is allowed to move, to learn, to invest in assets, skills, and systems. When you do that, you stop feeling like growth is betrayal. You start to act like a builder. At the end of each day, ask a question simple enough to be honest. Did I only protect today? Or did I also build? No judgment, just awareness. Awareness is how invisible patterns become visible, because saving places you in a safer spot on the map, but it doesn't redraw the map. Creation does. You weren't taught to be wealthy. You were taught to be safe. Safety is useful, but it's not a life. Your savings account can't save you from a small future. Only creation can. Don't promise yourself a new personality tonight. Don't make dramatic vows. Just move 1 inch toward building something. 1 inch is enough to break a pattern, because the pattern was never only about money. It was about permission. And once you give yourself permission to build, saving stops being your ceiling. It becomes your foundation.